Nuclear weapons stand as the most destructive and indiscriminate weapons ever created. Their unmatched scale of devastation and the persistence of their radioactive fallout set them apart from any other weaponry. Imagine a single nuclear bomb detonating over a major city. The potential to kill millions looms large. If dozens or even hundreds of these bombs were unleashed, the aftermath could lead to catastrophic disruptions in global climate, resulting in widespread famine that would affect billions. Now, let's delve into what truly happens if a nuclear weapon detonates. When considering the short-term effects, we find that a single nuclear weapon has the power to obliterate a city and annihilate a vast majority of its inhabitants. Multiple nuclear strikes on modern urban areas could result in tens of millions of casualties. For instance, casualties from a large-scale nuclear conflict between superpowers like the US and Russia could exceed hundreds of millions. Within just 10 seconds of a detonation, the fireball reaches its maximum size, unleashing an unprecedented release of energy in the form of blast, heat, and radiation. The shockwave can travel at remarkable speeds, fatally harming individuals near ground zero, while also causing lung injuries, ear damage, and internal bleeding for those further away. The high temperatures are so intense that everything close to the blast could be vaporized, igniting massive fires that collectively evolve into a firestorm. Tragically, even individuals seeking refuge in underground shelters wouldn't be spared, facing the grim realities of oxygen deprivation and carbon monoxide poisoning. As we venture into the long-term effects of nuclear detonation, the reality becomes even more grim. The ionizing radiation emitted can lead to death or serious illness for those exposed, alongside the environmental contamination that bears long-term health ramifications such as cancer and genetic damage. Historical data indicates that atmospheric nuclear testing from 1945 to 1980 alone is projected to result in approximately 2.4 million cancer-related deaths globally. Furthermore, the catastrophic impact doesn't stop with immediate fatalities. The use of just a fraction of the world's nuclear arsenal could disrupt the global climate, leaving around 2 billion people at risk of starvation amid what could be termed a nuclear famine. If thousands of nuclear weapons detonated simultaneously, we could face a nuclear winter, jeopardizing our already fragile ecosystem. Disaster response would be severely tested. Even a single detonation in a modern city would stretch current disaster relief resources to their limits. A widespread nuclear war would compound challenges exponentially, resulting in a migrant crisis dwarfing anything we've previously confronted. The ramifications extend beyond human cost. The environmental and socio-economic impacts of nuclear warfare are staggering. Should such a conflict occur, the result would be significant climate disruption, leading to deadly global famine and worsening effects of climate change. In terms of socio-economic consequences, developing countries and marginalized communities would bear the brunt of the fallout. The financial resources dedicated to the development, maintenance, and dismantlement of nuclear weapons siphon off funds that could instead foster advancements in green technology and public health infrastructure. Imagine the scenes of devastation invoked by the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. A single nuclear weapon can enact unimaginable destruction, wiping out entire cities and resulting in catastrophic mortality rates. In a major conflict, the death toll could escalate to hundreds of millions, with civilians often suffering the most. This brings us to a critical point: the inherent inhumanity of nuclear weapons. They do not discriminate between combatants and non-combatants, leading to an overwhelming majority of civilian casualties. The ramifications extend beyond immediate losses, marking those who survive with long-term health issues due to radiation exposure. A clear understanding of these harrowing realities underlines the necessity for global disarmament efforts. The weaponry is far too lethal, and it is imperative to recognize the urgent need for legislation to outlaw such inhumane weapons. It is a message we must carry forward for the sake of humanity's survival. Nuclear weapons cause unimaginable harm, from ionizing radiation that leads to cancer to environmental devastation. The legacy of nuclear testing may result in 2.4 million deaths linked to related illnesses globally. The production of these weapons heavily pollutes the environment with long-lasting radioactive materials. Even a fraction of the nuclear arsenal can cause climate disruption, potentially leading to starvation for 2 billion people. Humanitarian aid would be severely hindered post-detonation, as responders face contaminated areas and overwhelmed resources. Nuclear arms not only jeopardize health and the environment, but they also divert vital funds away from essential services, costing armed states $225 million daily. We must take action now to end this madness. The dangerous legacy of nuclear weapons shapes our reality, undermining humanitarian aid and risking both health and climate stability. It's essential to advocate for global disarmament and put an end to these indiscriminate weapons before they dictate the fate of humanity. Join the movement for a safer future.